Hello everyone, welcome back to the new task in Learning C with the help of examples. Today we are going to do task number 12. In the last week we have seen how to swap two numbers with the help of a temporary variable. In this week we are going to do the same task but without the use of the temporary variable, and this makes it a little bit more interesting. Okay, let's begin. So here, as in the previous case, we will have two variables a and b. Okay, so these two variables will be holding some values that will be entered by the user, and at the end of the program these values should be interchanged. Okay, now to do that it's pretty simple. Okay, let's first begin with taking in the numbers. Okay, so let's do printf, and we just write enter a, right, and after that I just do a scanf, and I just do percentage d because it is an integer, and ampersand sign a. Okay, so that finishes with my first variable. Second variable, similarly enter b, and okay, so both the variables inputs are done. Now what we have to do is we have to swap these numbers, but this time without the help of temporary variable. Okay, so we cannot use another variable over here to which we can temporarily shift the data. Okay, so what we do is we use the property of addition and subtraction, or multiplication or division. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to use either addition and subtraction features, where you add the two variables and you save the data of both the variables inside another variable. Okay, that means if let's say a and b are there, you add a and b together and save it inside a, and you subtract them and save it inside a different number. Okay, so that what does that do is when you swap the numbers you don't lose the information, right? So some amount of information is still there in one of the variables, right? Maybe not in the original form, maybe in the addition or in the subtracted form, but it is still there. Okay, similarly you can do it with multiplication and division also. Okay, we will see both the methods. Let's take the first one. So let's do one thing first. Let's say a is equal to a plus b. Okay, so now what happens is a currently has both the values of a and b. Okay, so is it safe to replace a right now, or is it safe to replace b right now? Okay, so basically it is safe to replace b right now because b's value is already stored in a. So the next statement what we can do is b is equal to a minus b. Okay, so now look at here what happens. Okay, so let's suppose now here this is very tricky to understand. Let's suppose your numbers were, okay, so let's say your a, and I will just take it to the side. Let's say your numbers are a, b, and the values that user entered is, let's suppose, 1 and 2. Okay, so the user entered 1 and 2, right? So after the current step, that is a plus b, this value becomes, okay, I will just write it down. So after a plus b, so a becomes 3, right? And after a minus b, okay, so after a minus b, what happens is currently the value of a is 3, right? When I'm executing this statement is already executed, right? So the a value currently is 3. So when it comes over here, what it does is this is 3, a value is 3, and b value is still 2, right? So if I subtract it, so what I get is 3 minus 2, that is 1. Okay, so I get 1 over here, right? So if you look at this right now, currently you are having a as 3 and b as 1. Okay, so now look at the next statement that I'm going to do. Now I'm going to do a is equal to again a minus b. Okay, so now you may think that both are going to give the same result, but no, look at the values of a and b right now. So right now the value of a is 3 and b is 1. So I'm changing the value of a over here, right? So I'm changing the value of a over here, and what is the new value of a? It is, right now a is 3 and b is 1. So 3 minus 1, it comes out to be 2, right? So a, the new value is 2, and b we are not changing, right? So b will be same as 1. Now just look at this step and this step. Can you see the difference? So initially we started with 1 and 2, and after the operations were done, you will see now a is having 2 and b is having 1. Okay, so this is how you swap two numbers using with the help of addition and subtraction. Let's do the same thing but with multiplication and division. Okay, so here again the step is almost similar. Okay, we do a into b. Let's say user entered let's say 4 and 5, right? So after this particular step is done, it will be 4 into 5. 4 5s are 20. So now the new value of a will be 20, right? Then next step is this over here I will be using division operator, and here also we will be using division operator. Okay, so over here if you see what is the next step, I use a divide by b. Okay, so when I do a divide by b, a currently is 20, I divide it by b which is 5. What I get? I get 4, because 5 4s are 20, right? So now that 4 is stored inside b. Okay, so the new value of b becomes 4. Okay, and now comes over here. Here again the a value is still 20, you can see, and the b value right now is 4. Okay, so now here it will be a divided by 4, sorry, 20 divided by 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5, right? And b value is not changing, so again it remains 4, right? So now you can see the same thing happened again. Now you started with 4 and 5, and after these three operations are done, the number swapped, and now a is 5 and b is 4. Okay, so this is how you do swapping without the help of any temporary variable. Okay, so once this is done, I can simply do a printf statement before and after, saying a equal to percentage d comma b is percentage d, where percentage d is a comma b, right? I can just copy this and paste it over here. So before swapping what was the value, and after swapping what was the value, this is what we are printing. Okay, just for it to look better, I'm just adding a \n. Okay, so let's run this. If I run, let's say a is 4, b is 5, and you can see before swapping it was 4 and 5 as what we have entered, and after swapping it became 5 and 4. Okay, so I hope you have understood. I will just show you the output of the previous with plus operator also. Just the signs change, but the logic is the same. Okay, so let's say 5 and 6, you can see it still gives the output. Okay, so I hope you have understood. Let's go to the next task.